Tag TV and Tag Radio. Be seen and heard by both technology users and technology producers throughout the state of Georgia and around the world. Low cost, big benefits, powerhouse online branded video and audio has arrived. Tag TV, Tag Radio, there's a lot more to know. This edition of Tech Talk is brought to you by GlobalSpeak.com, new media consultants, corporate video and audio communications, video and audio production and distribution, live and virtual event production. Tag TV and Tag Radio is a service of GlobalSpeak.com, creatively delivering powerful marketing, video, and audio solutions. That software demo was amazing. It worked flawlessly and was near seamless to integrate without a single problem. Okay. How about giving it a stress test? You know, the scripting phase, test execution phase, maybe a test analysis reporting phase. Initial implementation is one thing. How about a full enterprise rollout? Greetings, everyone. It's Tuesday, April 12, 2011, and this is a TAG Premier Member Showcase edition of Tech Talk with Technology Association of Georgia President Tino Mantella. I'm your guest host, Frank Baia. You purchased the software. Now, how do you reduce cost and risk of an unforeseen failure should that software, suddenly stop working effectively? Up to the Tech Talk, TAG Premier Member Orasi, a leading provider of software testing services using the HP test management and automation technology. For over 15 years, Orasi consistently and successfully implemented and integrates software testing environments for clients from UPS Supply Chain to Verizon Wireless, Pier 1 Imports to Great American Insurance, Manheim, Cox Enterprise, Bell South, Global Payments, and on and on. A client roster that represents a wide range of industries, including financial services and solutions, manufacturing, software development and solutions, media, online auctions, healthcare, and even travel services. We speak with Orasi Vice President of Strategic Accounts, Jim Arnold. In his 8 years with the company, Jim's department encompasses over 100 people, and while handling sales, pre-sales engineers, and consultants, Jim is also directly responsible for managing Orasi's 3 largest accounts. Formerly a senior executive for Borland and Star-based corporations, Jim has been involved in those companies' largest sales transactions. Proven and successful rapid return on investment and a business perspective that targets reducing time to market value, reducing risk, and reducing cost. Are all those, is it really up and running thoughts have you losing sleep at night? Software testing you cannot afford to overlook as we Tech Talk with TAG Premier Member Orasi, Vice President, Strategic Accounts, Jim Arnold. Jim, welcome to Tech Talk.
Hey, thanks for having me today.
Well, I got to say, if I remember my Greek, and I don't do it to memory, in all fairness, I think you had mentioned in a conversation prior that Orasi actually is a Greek word for?
For vision.
For vision. So I'm going to guess that when you got involved and organized the company, were you the founder, or?
I'm not actually the founder. I'm one of the founders, one of the team that did that. Our true president and CEO, Nick Cavadelis, his family is from Greece.
All right.
And that's where the name came from.
So that explains a lot. Well, now let's get into a little bit about the whole issue of the responsibility for implementing and integrating software for testing environments. On one side, the value that brings to the potential client has got to be amazingly substantial, but I would say equally so the responsibility. Go into a little bit about how that whole process unfolds.
Yeah, I think people are spending, as we all know, that computer software is coming, everything that we do today, and the quality of that is becoming more and more important. Our patience level as end users of software, whether it's the internet or our phones, is usually about 15 to 30 seconds if something's not working correctly. So as companies look to roll out these multi-million and billion-dollar projects that they're doing, having the quality be a high level with a defect-free becomes more and more important because people are just used to using computers now, and they don't take defects very well, and they move on to the next thing.
Well, and I would think that frustration is just part of the problem. Certainly jumping out a window could be next, but the reality of the situation is that there's a tremendous amount of of risk, but also a cost involved. So maybe talk a little bit about some of the things that you do as far as reducing the cost and the risk of software failures.
Yeah, I think that most of these applications that we work on are enterprise class applications that are revenue generating. If you look at some of the banking applications, whether it's mortgage, whether it's entertainment, people that are booking reservations online or telecommunications, it can be millions of dollars a minute. So if you look at a website like that being down for even 20, 30 minutes, that could be multi-millions of dollars.
Sure. And
with a lot of the technologies that are out there for quality assurance, you can alleviate a lot of that on the pre-side before your pre-production side. To make sure you eliminate those as much as possible to eliminate that downtime.
Well, we're going to go into a little bit about remote testing because I'm really curious about that versus traditional consulting methods. But tell us a little bit about the relationship you guys have with HP. I know you're HP partners. Is that different than other HP partners?
I think we are a little bit different. I think HP had actually purchased the Mercury Interactive company a few years back, and if you look at our company, we had another company in the past, Technology Builders, and the founders and most of the people in our company were actually there, and we were actually Mercury's first partner. So we've been working with these set of tools from the time that they were beta all the way till now, in their 10th or 11th release. So I think we bring to bear a lot more expertise in these tools than most other partners do out there.
A lot of trust and a lot of confidence, having been there, done that kind of thing. And so I do get it, and I can see the difference just from the time and energy and experience of having dealt with it for as long as you have. Now let's talk a little bit. I mentioned earlier about remote testing, and how does remote testing work, and what are some of the benefits of doing that, say, versus traditional consulting methods?
I think there's a lot of different benefits there, and of course, the Indian outsourcing overseas has been very popular. That's driven the prices down, traditionally from a labor cost. But I think more and more people, the cost of actually having computers on site, having space to have those, to be able to ramp up their staff and ramp down, are very similar. Orasi's taken a unique approach and actually done that in the United States. We've opened a facility in Greensboro, North Carolina, which actually there's 14 colleges within a 100-mile radius there. So we found a good source of highly educated people that are looking to expand, and a lot of them in that area of the country want to stay there, and so that they can actually have a high-tech job and stay in that area. And we found our retention level is really good, and also, we actually can go on site. We can go on site if need be, where it's not crossing continents there, or actually our customers can go to our facility as well, which helps the quality and the communication a lot better.
So direct touch, obviously, again, going back to that trust and confidence is just one more layer of that. And in this case, you're right there. Not only do you know the product, but you got almost a hands-on approach using domestic-type talent and capabilities to make sure that the job gets delivered and delivered as promised. I can't imagine anyone implementing any sophisticated level of software without having assistance of a company like yours. I can't imagine. Is it a case where people still do it by themselves? Is it a case where they take the risk of trying to implement it, or just work with the supplier themselves and don't look for outside assistance?
I think you see a lot of the smaller companies still holding on to that, trying to do it themselves. I think most of the larger organizations have realized that, have touched that stove before and are learning that it's real important. Most of these technologies, although, when you demo them and all that, they seem pretty simple. And they are, but if you've never done it before, there's a lot of pitfalls that we've already encountered that can save lots of money. And
the return on investment, when you're talking about even affordability as far as investing in getting it right the first time versus having it go down one time, can obviously, it's not something you really want to calculate, so why would you take the risk to begin with? Let's talk a little bit, again, I guess more about this trust and confidence level, the difference between a company like an Orasi and someone like an HP, small, hands-on, larger, I guess more predominant, but what differentiates the support from the different kinds of organizations, say Orasi from HP?
I think we've taken a different approach in how we tier our people. We've, like I said, been doing this for a long time, so we have lots of consultants that we're interested in getting off the road and not being travel consultants. So instead of hiring lower-level people to answer the phone, we've actually gone the opposite and actually hiring more senior people to actually answer the phone to resolve most of those on the first call, which has helped the customers a lot and helped our people a lot instead of being able to get transferred to different people. So if they do call back, they're not calling a large call center with thousands of people there that are taking different companies' calls. They're calling Dave in Kennesaw, Georgia versus somebody else maybe perhaps overseas, or not being able to get back to the same person. So having that continuity, that if you're having a problem with a complex solution, if you call them this morning and then be able to call back this afternoon and talk to the same person instead of having to revisit that. I think we've all dealt with that in different areas of support, whether it was our telecommunications device we're using or our entertainment stuff that we use at home, where that can be very frustrating to have to repeat and train up the person you're talking to on your problem.
Now, as Vice President Strategic Accounts, is that something that is a traditional position in most organizations, or is that a focus that Orasi puts on? I know, obviously, based on your reputation, you guys have been working with some clients for almost since the earliest days and had customers. You know, we often say at Global Speak, our little company, but we say our friends are our clients and our clients are our friends. Your department has over 100 people in it. And obviously you go from sales all the way through to pre-sales engineers and consultants. But tell us a little bit about the role of strategic accounts and the relationship you have as vice president with those clients.
Yeah, with our role, with our partnership with HP, they divide up their G1 Pay with the 1,000 largest customers in the world, and so we've paired up with them. Whereas the sales cycles are a little bit longer, and actually, the partnership that they're trying to create may take a little bit more time than the average sales cycle. So we've dedicated our group to do that so that we can handle a transaction from start to finish, so to speak. So from the first time somebody's interested in looking at some automation testing or some performance testing, we can start at demoing the product all the way through implementing the product at the end, and that could be as long as 2 years. So my sales teams keep the same territories multiple years, which is in the technology world that's pretty rare. So that's probably one of the biggest differences. We try to keep our teams together so we can work with clients on a long period of time and develop relationships.
Now, we've talked a lot about HP. Let's talk a little bit about SAP. I know that you guys are involved in some types of consulting with SAP projects, but maybe get into a little bit of more detail about that.
Okay. SAP formed a partnership with HP and to actually be exclusive on testing their upgrades of their technology, SAP. So we partnered with them to do that as well. So very similar to what we're doing with a lot of the other technologies out there, we formed a group that just focalizes on SAP. There's a lot of accelerators out there. There's a product called TAO that's specifically built for the SAP application. So there's a lot of knowledge we have there that's just used in those applications, because although all those clients are a little bit different, they're highly customized, there are a lot of repeatable factors there for the different modules of SAP.
And unfortunately we're running quickly out of time, but there's so many things that I would love to be able to discuss in a little bit more detail. I know our listeners have got to be interested, especially in the SAP aspect of it. If you're involved in it at all or planning on being involved in it, you certainly are a valuable asset to have to be able to access. Give us a little bit of maybe a look into the future as far as this overall situation. You know, we talk about clouds and we're talking about apps and we're talking about so many other things from both a consumer B2C and B2B standpoint. Got any feelings for what software is going to look like and how it's going to be accessed in the next few years?
Yeah, I really think that the cloud strategy is going to take off. We're seeing HP as well as other vendors do many different things in that area as well as we're doing it. I still think there's still a little bit of definition falling out within the industry on what that exactly means. But I think at a high level, customers are wanting to buy the software when they need it for what they need and not having to buy large buckets of software, if you will, that they may need a year or 2 years from now. So I think the whole software purchase is going to change over the next few years, and it is changing, and HP is changing with that as well as Orasi, and we're putting some plans in place to be able to help customers do that so that it'll be more affordable and a kind of a just-in-time for software.
Well, once again, the subject is pervasive. It's certainly important to every company, mid-size, larger, even some of the small companies that you talked about. I think number one, first and foremost, is to know that the kind of resource that you represent and the kind of participation that you have in the community. I know you're a TAG Premier member and very active in the Technology Association. Jim, all I guess we can say is thanks a lot for all of the things you do and the great talent and capabilities you bring to the industry, and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today on Tech Talk.
No, thanks for having me, and hopefully we can talk again one day.